Good morning. My name is Jim Wood. I'm chairman of Wood Communications Group and serve as strategic counsel to Competitive Wisconsin, Inc. I know many of you here in the room. I'm delighted to see familiar faces. I'm delighted to see unfamiliar faces. I'm going to turn the program over at the moment to my good friend, Chancellor Jim Schmidt, who is a gift to the state of Wisconsin.
Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to what we call Wisconsin's most beautiful campus. It is a pleasure to have you on campus. In my 10th year already at UW Eau Claire, and I've loved every minute of it. And I want to start by thanking all of you for committing to the important discussions about Wisconsin's workforce strategies that we'll be having today. My thanks to Competitive Wisconsin and their strategic counsel, Jim Wood, for bringing Wisconsin's Tomorrow Action Accelerator Series to Eau Claire. Today's series is about promoting systematic action to move the needle on workforce recruitment, attraction, and retention strategies. No matter your industry or your background, Wisconsin's demographic challenges were brought into high relief during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's been particularly painful for businesses and organizations really from all areas. A tight labor market has been marked by rising starting wages and a lack of qualified applicants, which has really shifted employee expectations. Our long-term shortage of young people prepared to enter the workforce has played a role in elevating these starting wages. Though these challenges have become a reality during the pandemic has been hardly the cause. Rather, COVID-19 has accelerated and exposed the long-term challenges to our economic environment that'll continue to command our attention long after the pandemic is over. To address Wisconsin's immediate and long-term workforce deficits, we must adapt strategies with a systemic lens for problem solving. As today's agenda reflects, a lack of new workers does not stem from one factor alone. It is a web of interrelated phenomena. Recruiting and retaining our future workers spans issues ranging from employer benefits to local tax environments to the availability of affordable childcare facilities, affordable housing, and access to reliable broadband internet. Therefore, implementing solutions to our collective concerns will not come from one entity, but from many entities, working in concert for a shared vision. Thankfully, one-time federal funding available to municipalities and counties could help make investments that reinforce the long-term desirability of our communities as an ideal place to work, live, learn, and retire. We have several public officials with us today who have been tasked with proposing uses for those federal funds. We need to hear from a diverse array of stakeholders in order to develop the most impactful interventions. And they will also benefit from having champions from business, education, social services, and economic development who can validate the rationale behind those proposed interventions. In the meantime, each of our organizations can help our workforce climate by modeling behaviors we hope will adopt a long-term strategy. For an entity like UW Eau Claire, that means continuing to strategically manage our curriculum and program offerings to ensure that our graduates are prepared to enter high-demand fields. Last fall, UW Eau Claire received a $9.4 million WEDC Workforce Innovation Grant to do just that. We're working with partners across our region to prepare more teachers and nurses and developing career-focused degrees in programs including healthcare and innovation that'll strengthen our region's ability to attract and retain a strong workforce. We are also intentionally recruiting more out-of-state students who can succeed here and be exposed to our beautiful communities. We're treating our current employees with respect and flexibility as we weather ongoing economic uncertainty. And we're helping to ensure that our alumni who have left the region understand the quality of life now available to them in western Wisconsin, so they might consider relocating back to the Chippewa Valley. I'm grateful to each of you for attending this event to help shape a collective vision for our regional workforce strategy. My many thanks once again to Competitive Wisconsin Incorporated for for bringing Wisconsin's Tomorrow Summit on Workforce, Retention, Attraction, and Recruitment to Eau Claire. Together, I'm confident we can better understand the systemic challenges facing our region's workforce pipeline and translate that comprehension into action. I wish you all a productive and insightful day at UW-Eau Claire for this conversation. It is now my pleasure to welcome my good friend and most importantly, fellow Blue Gold, Stephen Yon.
We have a phenomenal partnership with all three universities. Over the last 7-8 years, our organization, Momentum West, has really evolved into a organization that's been able to leverage the partnerships with higher education and really help drive workforce development with all of us for the benefit of the region. I don't have a whole lot to say this morning. We are a 10-county economic development organization. For those of you that are not familiar with us, we cover everything from Clark County on the east side all the way over to Polk, Pierce, and St. Croix on the west, and everything in between. It's a very diverse area, as you're aware. The workforce challenges within this region are very complicated. COVID has had a tremendous effect on it. We used to be in a situation where we were dealing with a shortage of people. Now we are dealing with a lot of different things, as Jim will point out shortly, 8 key factors that are really creating many layers of challenges for increasing our workforce and driving our workforce. But with that said, I don't want to take a whole lot more time. I'd like to introduce Stephanie Hirsch, the city manager for the city of Eau Claire.
Hello, and thank you all for being here, and welcome to Eau Claire. I've been in my role for about 4 months, though it seems much longer than that, but I'm really happy to be here. As some of you may know, I grew up in Eau Claire in the 70s and 80s, and the community was an amazing place to grow up because it was the kind of community that really, where all the adults, or most of the adults, invested in our community organizations and our public institutions and created just a tremendous support system and system of opportunity for the young people who grew up there. And returning to Eau Claire, I'm so struck by how much that those community values continue of working hard, showing up, being on time, doing what's expected, and really helping people succeed and thrive. And there is, as a result of that kind of years and years of investment, there's such a rich network of community organizations and institutions, educational groups that help so many individuals and families do well in Eau Claire. And many of you are represented in this room, as well as just a really strong network of community development and economic development organizations that cover different aspects of economic development. What I find exciting about my job, and it's also exciting to be in this room, is that we in this room work in organizations that impact virtually almost all factors that lead to a person having a good day, a hard day, factors that allow a person to succeed, or factors that could hinder a person's success. And it's exciting to be in the room together to talk about those different ways that we can help people succeed. An amazing aspect of Eau Claire is that we have so many resources in place to help children and families and adults thrive. And so our challenge is really to make sure that we're all working in the same direction and that all of our assets add up to success for people, and also to continue to look for who is not currently served by this really rich network of organizations and resources. We know that even though so many people in Eau Claire are well taken care of and are positioned to succeed in life, there are still some who don't have access to this rich kind of array of opportunities. So I think every day we can work to look to see who's missing out on those paths to success. And just to close out, in our conversation today, I hope that we continue to think about how in recruiting and retaining residents and employees in Eau Claire, diversity is really a strength. So it's great in Eau Claire that there is so much continuity, and I think that relates to our ability to continue to perform so well. But within that context of continuity, we also have to think about change, and I really encourage us to think about how can we make sure that we're a community that is really accessible to any kind of worker, to people of all different perspectives and backgrounds and skill sets, and to know that having a truly inclusive community will be a tremendous strength for us. So thank you all for being here, and I look forward to the discussion. And I'm introducing Dave Miner, I think, who's an amazing partner with the city through the chamber.
So quickly though, my name is David Miner. I'm the president and CEO for the Eau Claire Chamber of Commerce. To give you some perspective, since we have many here and online, our organization represents over 1,200 businesses, but more importantly, over 50,000 employees. So when we talk workforce, there is no bigger organization that is dealing with it and trying to figure out all the solutions along with all of you than where we are today. So some of the interesting things, I just came back from a national conference with over 1,200 chambers, and obviously workforce was the #1 topic. What a lot was talked about is, in the chamber world, we used to rip off and duplicate things, but because communities are so different, it's really looking at creating some new wheels. One of the things that Stephanie touched on, you're going to hear throughout the day though, this summer is the 30th year when Royal Tire Factory closed down. And in that fell swoop, 1,500 to 2,000 jobs left this community. And instead of what many communities did is they chased that next big smokestack. What Eau Claire did is set a goal of building a community where employees will live and the businesses will follow. And that's what we've seen. And so our biggest asset is we have the community where people want to live. We are seeing the businesses come. So you'll hear more about this as we go out, and I'm going to turn it over to Mark. There we go. Mark O'Connell with Wisconsin Counties Association.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this event where we solve the problems of tomorrow. I am Mark O'Connell of the Wisconsin Counties Association. There's a lot of Eau Claire feel here today. You have a beautiful community and a gorgeous campus. And when Jim indicated his love of Eau Claire and this campus, and Steve referenced to being a Blue Gold, and Stephanie, years of being in lacrosse and coming back and now running the city, I feel obligated to tell you, with this love of Eau Claire, I'm a lacrosse grad. But my wife is a Blue Gold, and a Blue Gold forever, yes. So this event would not be possible without our hosts and co-hosts. So we need to recognize these individuals and entities. Our hosts, Momentum West, the Eau Claire Area Chamber of Commerce, Competitive Wisconsin. Our co-hosts, University of Wisconsin Eau Claire, University of Wisconsin River Falls, University of Wisconsin Stout, the Chippewa Valley Technical College, St. Croix Economic Development Corp., Greater Menominee Development Corp., and then our sponsors, American Family Insurance, the Wisconsin Counties Association, and Wood Communications Group. We also have reporting partners, those individuals and entities that will ensure that other people in the state are aware of the work that's being done here today and in the future. And they are WIS Business, partners with WIS Politics, WIS I, which is Wisconsin I, our local broadcasting network, the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association, and the Wisconsin Newspapers Association. So with that, let's get on with the first program, Challenge. And opportunities.